On a quiet afternoon in 1971, a man stepped onto a plane, smiled at the crew, and a few hours later, he jumped out of that plane with a parachute and completely disappeared from the world. No body, no parachute, no clear answers, not even a real name. Today, we're going to calmly walk through the strange story of D.B. Cooper, the only person in American history who hijacked a plane, took the money and jumped into a storm, and then simply vanished into thin air. This is not a movie. This is all real. It began on November 24th, 1971, Portland, Oregon. A calm man wearing a suit, dark sunglasses, and holding a briefcase walked slowly toward the airline counter. He looked like any businessman catching a flight. He bought a one-way ticket under the name Dan Cooper, not D.B. Cooper. That name came later because of a media mistake. Nothing about him looked strange. Nothing looked dangerous. He was polite, quiet, and almost invisible in the crowd. But nobody knew. A few hours later, he would become one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. When the plane took off, Cooper sat in the back. He ordered a drink and waited. Then he handed the flight attendant a small folded note. At first, she thought he was flirting or giving his phone number. She didn't even read it. But Cooper leaned toward her and whispered, "Miss, you should read that note. I have a bomb." That one line changed the whole flight. The flight attendant slowly opened the note. Inside, Cooper wrote clearly, he wanted money, and he had explosives. To prove he wasn't joking, he opened his briefcase just enough to show her inside. She saw wires, red cylinders, batteries. Was it a real bomb? No one knows. But in that moment, it didn't matter. Everyone believed it, and Cooper stayed calm. Cooper didn't ask for something small. He wanted $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. He also said, no tricks, no police on the plane, and no one gets hurt. The crew listened carefully. They were scared, but they noticed something strange. Cooper wasn't angry. He wasn't violent. He was polite. He even apologized for inconveniencing them. It was the calmest hijacking anyone had ever seen. When the plane landed in Seattle, the passengers didn't know what was happening. They were told it was a minor mechanical issue. They walked out safely. Outside, FBI agents had gathered the money and parachutes that Cooper asked for. Once everything was ready, the items were brought inside. Cooper checked the money calmly, counted the parachutes, and nodded. He released almost everyone from the plane, except for the pilot, the co-pilot, one flight attendant, and the engineer. The next part of his plan was about to begin. Most hijackers asked for 1 parachute, but Cooper asked for 4. This confused the FBI. Why 4? Was he hiding something? But that was the point. By asking for 4, the FBI could not give him fake parachutes. They were forced to give him real working ones. It was a smart move, a careful move, a move that showed he knew exactly what he was doing. The plane took off again, this time heading south. The weather was terrible. Strong winds, cold rain, dark clouds everywhere. But Cooper didn't care. In fact, he knew the weather. He had asked for the plane to stay low, at around 10,000 feet. This was not a normal request. It was a skydiver's request. The crew realized something. Cooper wasn't just a hijacker. He was planning something almost impossible. Cooper turned off many lights. The back of the plane became dark. He moved the crew into the cockpit and told them not to come out. From here on, everything would happen behind them. They could only hear small movements, bags being dragged, parachutes being opened, money being secured. The crew could feel the tension in the air. Something big was coming. A warning light blinked in the cockpit. The rear stairs were opening. The pilot shouted over the intercom, "Sir, it's dangerous to open that at this altitude." Cooper simply yelled back, "It's okay." And then, the pilots felt the plane shift. The pressure changed. The tail dipped slightly. At around 8:13 p.m., the crew felt a small, sudden movement, like someone had jumped off the back of the plane, and just like that, Cooper disappeared into a violent storm. Below him were forests, rivers, freezing temperatures, and miles of darkness. No one could survive that jump, right? Or maybe he did. No one knows. Because what came next was even stranger. The FBI searched everywhere. Helicopters, dogs, teams on foot, airplanes scanning the ground. But they found nothing. No parachute, no body, not a single piece of his clothing. It was like the earth swallowed him. Even years later, the area remained quiet, almost untouched. The mystery was not getting clearer. It was getting deeper. Then, something strange happened. 9 years later, in 1980, a young boy found some old damaged bills near the Columbia River. They were the same bills the FBI gave to Cooper, but there was a problem. The place where the money was found did not match the flight path. It did not match the jump location. It didn't match anything. So how did the money get there? No one could explain it. Cooper left one thing behind on the plane, a simple black tie. Years later, scientists tested it. They found tiny particles on it, titanium, metals, chemicals, materials that only came from specific factories and aerospace companies. This meant something important. Cooper probably worked in a mechanical, engineering, or aircraft-related job. He wasn't an amateur. He knew planes, he knew the weather, he knew the risks, and he planned everything with purpose. Many suspects appeared over the years. Some looked similar, some had strange pasts, some even confessed. But every time the FBI investigated deeply, something didn't match. A detail was off. A timeline was wrong. A face didn't fully match the witnesses. So, Cooper stayed nameless. Did he die during the jump? Some experts say yes. The storm was too strong, the terrain too dangerous, but others believe he survived. No one can prove it. Theories keep coming, but truth stays out of reach. It has been more than 50 years now. The FBI closed the case. The evidence sits in storage. Witnesses have grown old, and yet, D.B. Cooper still feels alive in the mystery. A man who walked onto a plane with a briefcase, jumped into a storm, and became a legend. Not because of what he stole, but because of how he disappeared. Some mysteries fade, but this one stayed in the sky. If you love documentaries videos, make sure subscribe to Mystic Stories. I see you in next video.